What's up, people? Welcome back to Invest with T-Claus. My name is Tevi, and this channel is dedicated to my investment journey, along with coverage on crypto, Tesla, Neo, Virgin Galactic, and ChargePoint. Come for the information and stay for the perspective. So it's Super Bowl weekend here in the US. Chiefs versus Eagles. Who do you think wins it? Leave your guess in the comment section. It'll be cool to see how many of you get it right. Personally, I'm going for the Eagles. But let's talk about stocks. After a full month of uptrend and positive market action, we closed lower this week. If you looked around, this is the type of headline you would have seen. That headline describes the fact that the SP 500 and Dow Jones indices managed to close in positive territory while the Nasdaq did not. Virgin Galactic is in the Nasdaq and lost 18.09% on the week. There are a couple of reasons for the overall decline we experienced this week. That said, we also received a very positive piece of news that may have gone unnoticed by most, for Virgin Galactic specifically. So in today's video, I'll go over the main drivers behind the move lower. I'll share with you the latest news around Virgin Galactic that I was referring to. It's a good one. And close out with what I've personally done as far as buying or selling since the last time I covered the stock. As always, this isn't to be taken as financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is my personal approach to investing and the thought process behind it. I'd recommend watching all the way through so that you don't miss out on any pertinent information I'll be sharing. Drop this video an early like if you haven't already and hit that subscribe button. Those are two easy ways to show your support to the channel and help it grow if you appreciate the content. All right, let's get into it. So let's start with why did we drop lower? At the macro level, the most obvious reason is that it is once again time for some inflation data. Come next week, we have the CPI due on Tuesday, February 14th, followed by the PPI or Producer Price Index on Wednesday, February 15th. The uptrend we have been experiencing was kicked off on the back of positive inflation data last month, followed by some positive commentary by the Fed, and an earnings season with mostly solid results. Now, obviously, for the uptrend to continue, we need to see another month-over-month decline in inflation data next week. That would go to support the narrative that we are closer to the end on the Fed tightening cycle, which is what we want for sentiment to stay positive. But while we wait, the prudent thing most portfolio managers have done is trim those big winners. The Nasdaq has seen the most gains over the past month, so it does make sense that that's where the pullback would be felt the most. So that's the big picture. Now for Virgin Galactic specifically, the main reason we pulled back comes down to the technicals. And here's what I mean. You can see here that near the peak last week at $6.48, that was just over an 86% gain year to date, which is massive. Now that big move up punched right through the 200-day moving average and took us right into overbought territory with an RSI of 73.04. And what happens after you enter that zone? Technical traders will usually take profit, allow some time for things to cool off, and wait for a lower re-entry point, right? Pretty standard stuff. So nothing too uncommon here. It's also worth noting that anyone who bought at the all-time low posted in December has over doubled their investment, right? So again, even without the CPI data next week, profit taking here isn't too surprising to see. The key here will be to see whether or not the 50-day moving average, currently sitting at $4.69, does hold as support for the stock moving forward. My personal belief is that it should, and here's why. Earlier this week, we finally received confirmation of what I believe is the completion of the ground test. Let me pull up the article and we'll go through some of the key sections. And I quote, "After a 15-month overall, Virgin Galactic White Knight 2 VMS Eve carrier aircraft is once again basking in the bright sunshine of the Mojave Desert as it prepares for taxi test today. In the afternoon, VMS Eve made a short taxi test on runway 1230. It then headed back to Faith. So I would say this is our successful ground test confirmation." They go on to say, VMS Eve taxi test will be followed by a flight test to evaluate the modifications. That flight could take place next week. This could be huge, right? This could be a huge catalyst. We'll have to see how it plays out, but this is very positive. Now, continuing on, Virgin Galactic officials have said that they are on track to complete flight tests on VMS Eve by the end of March and begin commercial flight in the second quarter. Tickets cost $450,000 a piece. End of quote. Now, if this reported news is accurate, which it seems to be, and the inflation data is positive next week, followed by a formal test flight announcement by Virgin, this could be a recipe for making another run above the 200-day moving average and actually flipping that into support. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with my take on it. I should add that the Q4 2022 earning call is expected around the last week of this month. The formal date for the earning call should be released any day now, so check my Twitter account as it will be more than likely where I release the date first. This then brings us to what have I personally done in light of this latest run-up. You all know that I've bought near the absolute bottom and I was up over 100% on those shares. So did I sell? Well, actually I did not. Why? Because I believe there is more upside to be had. Instead, I took advantage of the previous pullback before the big push to over $6 took place. You can see here all of my buy transactions were concentrated between January 17th and January 19th. Those all amount to another 1,500 shares for a total of now 5,000 shares. All of those purchases were in the $4.80 to $5.15 range. With these extra shares added to my portfolio, I've now managed to drop my cost basis down to $8.04, closer to my target, but not quite there yet. But the cool thing is that now that the RSI has cooled off, it would be appropriate to once again resume adding before the next push up. That said, I'm more inclined to see if we drop a bit lower ahead of the CPI print before buying more. The last thing I will say is this. Though the setup heading into next week feels fairly positive with a few potential catalysts, again, that's the earning call date announcement, the test flight date window announcement, and the fact that the price action on the stock is likely back into a consolidation phase, readying for the next move up above the 200-day, I'm not losing sight of the fact that not only did Virgin Galactic post some significant gains in a short amount of time, but so did the market overall. This means that we could see a bit more profit taking, especially if inflation data next week comes above expectations. That could really pour some cold water on the positive sentiment that helped lift the market over the last month to where we currently are. If that happens, this then could be our first opportunity to confirm that the 50-day moving average on Virgin Galactic has indeed become support, assuming that doesn't break. By the way, the 50-day moving average is currently at $4.69, and that is a key level to watch. Now, I can't stress enough that this isn't financial advice, right? But everything I'm seeing suggests that we should get positive data next week, and we should see another solid move higher on Virgin Galactic, so long as they stay on track. So I've said it before, but worth repeating again, I fully expect that we will see $10 to $11 minimum on the stock sooner than most expect. But certainly by the time commercial launch hits, institutions and individual investors alike are buying. So really, the only question you should be asking yourself at this point is, did you accumulate enough shares for the next doubling in price from the current level, which is at $5? The answer for everyone will be different, but that should be what drives the next action you take. But on that note, that is it for me today. I appreciate you spending some time with me. If you found value in my content, click that like button and share with others who you think could also benefit from it. For my newcomers, subscribe, it's free. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so that you too can stay in the know. I'll be back on Sunday for my weekly video. Till then, you can keep up with me here on Twitter for crypto and NFT related news. Thank you for watching, stay humble, hustle hard, and I'll see you in the next one.